So yeah guys, as I was saying before, and if you've watched some of our other videos, you may already know, Leah and I choose not to use herbicides. We want to keep the weeds from coming to begin with. We don't want to have to deal with them after they're already there. So a good way to do that is choosing a quality weed barrier. Another defense can be the plants that you choose to put in your landscape, can be a defense themselves. And using ground covers. If you don't put a plant somewhere, then eventually nature is going to. Nature's going to win every time, no matter what you do. But what you can do is kind of postpone it and try to keep it as best you can, again with the weed barrier. A lot of the work just goes into choosing the right plants and doing your research, as well as weed prevention. I see people that want to pull their hair out, you know, whenever they're out there pulling them weeds, because it gets overwhelming. But if you do things in place before you do your landscaping and mulching, put down a good weed barrier. You know, the cheaper you go on the weed barrier, the more often you're going to have to redo it. But if you put down a good heavy-duty weed barrier, you can go sometimes 3 and 4 seasons without having any weeds to deal with. It just keeps raining and raining. We're having the back end of the hurricane. It's hitting the Carolinas. If you guys are watching there, I hope everybody's safe. And we'll be praying for you. May God be with you guys. We're fortunate just to be here in Tennessee where we don't have to deal with all that. You know, yesterday was a sunny, beautiful day. All the while, somewhere on the East Coast, they're getting hit with a hurricane. So we're fortunate to be here. I'm fortunate to be able to be pulling weeds today. All right, guys, I was over here looking at this plant. It is a Royal Cape Plumbago. This is a beautiful flower. The only thing that I noticed is that this flower is not zoned for where it is located. We're in zone 7A. This flower plant is zones 9 through 11, which means it can handle freezes from about 20 degrees. Once it starts getting lower than 20 degrees, this plant begins to die off and will not return the following year. So this is just an example of the importance of doing your research on your plants. Make sure you're getting the right ones for your area. You can see here that this plant was not cheap. So to have that price tag to be planted and then to be lost the following year in a pot or something is maybe a little different. Maybe this could be a good potted plant and then brought indoors. But to pay that amount of money for this plant and to lose it over the winter just from looking over that information, you know, kind of stinks. So just make sure you're getting the right plants for your area. All you gotta do is hit up Google, say what planting zone am I in, what hardiness zone am I in, and it will tell you, and then you will find plants that match that description, and that way you can make sure that you get plants that are healthy and thrive in your area. If you do get plants that just aren't meant to be where you are, then you'll have all the trouble in the world trying to get them to do well, and there's nothing that you're doing. It's just the plant doesn't like the location that it's in. And some of you guys may remember in my last video I showed you with the tarp how I will cut what's overgrowing here, and when I do, I'll drag the tarp along with me and just let it fall right into the tarp. I'm doing the same thing here with this small wheelbarrow. I'll place it under where I'm trimming, just cut right here with the hedge trimmers, and they'll fall right in the bucket. I want to get a good before of these bushes because the difference when I'm done will be drastic. These guys will be boxed up, more confined, and it will be one step toward a beautiful landscape and backyard. All right, guys, there's this side. Got a little bit of cleanup, but not much because of the wheelbarrow. Hint, hint. Got this guy cleaned up. Still got some vines and stuff. I'm thinking that I want to put maybe some pine needles here up under this. That'll kind of clean this up a little bit, make it look better. Hopefully it'll snuff out some of these little weeds. Like this pine straw is also a pretty good way to combat weeds. I personally like pine straw over mulch. I think it looks better, it's easier to install. I think there's a lot of reasons why I like pine needles. I'm not saying it is better, I'm just saying, you know, that's just a preference deal. Whatever you choose, you know, it's hard to go wrong. I say that, but I'm sure somebody somewhere will figure out a way to go wrong. But you know, it's not really one's just completely better than the other, it's just preference. So anyway, this side's done. I'll get all this stuff up. You guys will see whether or not I have decided to put down pine needle. It's really going to just depend on whether or not there's enough, because I definitely have to pine needle this side after I get these trees trimmed up. So we'll see how it goes. So this ought to be fun. Check out the thorns on this guy. But guess what? I don't have to touch it. You know why? You guessed it. Alright guys, there it is. Another one completed. There's still a little bit to do here. Mainly over there. All those trees, probably going to remove. I'm going to have to do that next time. I'll probably whack on some of them until he gets here. But that's it. Also going to talk to him about maybe getting some pine needle to put under here. Now that this is exposed, it was not exposed before. It was all these bushes here, all the way to the ground. So it'll spruce it some, make it look a little better. I used it all over here, so I didn't have any extra. So thank you guys for following with us. I appreciate all of you taking the time to watch our videos. We're in Franklin, Tennessee, servicing the Middle Tennessee area. So any of you guys in the area need some help, check us out. It's Eric with Mountain Movers, and until next time. Alright guys, I just thought I'd share this with you as well. This is what I see every morning when I leave, every evening when I come home. Makes it hard to have a bad day with a view like that.
And a baby like this.
Yeah.
Okay, say bye-bye. Say bye-bye. You say it?
Tell them bye-bye.
Tell these people bye-bye. Bye.
Say
Bye-bye.
see you next time.
See you next time.
Call Mountain Movers.
Bye-bye. Babies. Okay.
Alright, God bless you guys.